Hello, I'm Angela Princewell, and on this segment of Ask AP, I'm answering the question, what is the limitation period for me to get equalization of net family properties? This is a very pretty straightforward one. It's clear in the Family Law Act for married spouses. You have the earlier of 2 years from the date of divorce or 6 years from the date of separation to apply or to make a claim for equalization of net family property. What does this mean? It means that if you get a divorce done, so some people get married and are focused on just, being done with the relationship legally, and they apply for a divorce and don't deal with all the other issues, if there's properties to be divided or their pensions or their bank account balances, for example. So if you do go ahead and get that divorce, just remember that 2 years after the date of that divorce, if you don't deal with equalization, your claim is gone. That's an answer that the other side can put forward and just say your claim's barred because it's brought past the limitation period. On the other hand, as well, if you've just separated and you're not up to dealing with the issues, that's very understandable. Sometimes people need time to process. There's a lot of emotions and overwhelmment that comes with the separation process, and it's completely understandable. So the law allows you 6 years. So 6 years from the date you separate from the other party, you need to bring your claim for equalization. Otherwise, again, you will be barred, and it would just be as simple as you're out of luck. It is now past the limitation period. Now, that's obviously the simplest form of it. There are times that we might be able to make an exception to have that limitation period extended, but I generally don't advise you to rely on that. Just try to make sure that you bring your claim for equalization within the limitation period. And equalization, of course, is just the process whereby the properties that the parties, acquired, or the parties' net family properties are divided before, after they separate, because I'm being very careful with choosing my words here, because I almost was going to say the properties the parties acquired during marriage. That's not necessarily how the equalization process works. We have a lot of videos where we've dealt with sort of what goes into the equalization calculations, but essentially the idea of equalization really is to have both parties leave the relationship on a somewhat equal footing, but you do have to bring your claim on time, especially if you're the party that will be owed something, right? And what I mean by that is, if there's some times where all the assets in a marriage are in one person's name. So if you work away from the relationship, you might still be living in the home, for example, but if the home is not in your name and you don't apply for equalization payment, for an equalization claim within the limitation period, then you really have nothing. So you're just possessing that home, and you might not be able to get your fair share of that if you allow the limitation period to pass. So to keep the answer short, sweet, simple, it's 2 years from the date of marriage and 6 years from the date of separation to make an equalization claim. So you want to keep those dates in mind as you plan around sort of what decisions you want to make regarding dealing with the consequences. I guess that's almost sounds terrible. It's not. It's just there's issues that come up, and as a result of parties separated, equalization is one of them. And there is a timeline. Some things don't have a timeline at all. So if you're thinking about spousal support, for example, there is no timeline. There's no limitation period to deal with that, but there is for equalization. So I know, as difficult as it might be and as unprepared as you may be to deal with that issue, if you're the party that's going to be owed something, please keep these dates in mind. And obviously, for the party that is the one that's likely to be making an equalization payment, that party would probably have an interest in just doing nothing and just sitting there and waiting for the clock to tick. But sometimes people do get it wrong. You think you're not going to be owed anything, or you're the one that's going to owe something, and then you don't deal with equalization. But when the numbers really get looked at, you find out that you might have done yourself a disservice. So all in all, as always, get independent legal advice and get everything done in a timely manner. Until next time, it's bye for now.